Hi, I'm Zenia, an indie dark fantasy author, and today I'm going to be going through how I take an idea and transition it into an outline. Most of the time, when people say they have an idea for a book, they actually mean they have a premise or a character or a setting. These are all great starting places, but if it's all you have when you sit down to start writing a book, there's a good chance you're going to run out of steam quickly. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of a new idea and want to put pen to paper. But you'll really benefit a lot from having the big picture before you jump into your novel. Your story deserves the time it will take. This doesn't mean that you should let that creative energy go to waste. Write, by all means, write short stories, character bios, setting descriptions. When the muse offers her hand, you take it. Just don't jump into the bulk of your novel yet. Maybe you don't need an outline. Not everyone does. Some people prefer to just fly by the seat of their pants, and it works for them. I can't do that, and I'm going to show you my process. Outlines are great to keep from getting stuck, or to stop you from digging a plot hole you can't shovel your way back out of. If you've gotten this far, you probably know that an outline is a plan for your book. It's like a roadmap of different chapters and scenes. An outline can be as simple as a sentence or two for each chapter or plot point, all the way through to something so detailed it can basically constitute a rough draft. In my case, my outlines are all about 20% as long as the final piece. So for a 100,000 word novel, my outlines are usually around 20,000 words. To some, this might seem excessive, but every single word is worth it to me. For the rest of this video, I'll be referring to my own process and the kind of outlines I make. Yours might end up looking completely different if you even use one, and that's okay. So you have a thread that excites you, but how do you weave it into the fabric of a story? I always start with a brainstorm. I take a whiteboard or a notebook or a Word document, and I put down everything that I've come up with so far in daydreams or basic concepts. As I've mentioned before, sometimes this is as little as a character or a setting. Once I have those pieces down, I begin expanding. At this stage, I try not to go into too much detail, just creating the rough shape of the character or the world, whatever's drawing you to this idea. As an example, I'll take you through my process, as I remember it, for The Ghost of Mittermere. My earliest concept for Ghost was basically a nun ninja with a brooding past and a criminal alias. If a vigilante ninja nun is your only bullet point, you have to just start expanding from there. How does she reconcile being a nun and a criminal? How did she get combat training? What does she want in this world? Who has hurt her? Who helps her? We can answer those. She's committing crimes in an effort to do what she believes is right. She was trained as a warrior of her faith, which is nun adjacent. She wants to keep people safe from danger. Her father hurt her. Her friends help her. Then we ask the next layer of questions. We start asking about where she lives, what's the religion like, who are these friends, what did her father do? We sketch out an idea of the person, their motivations, their fears, their surroundings, because that's what excited us about this story, so we mustn't lose focus on it. I find creating the actual plot the most difficult part of outlining. You have this awesome cast of characters, but then what do they do? For me, there's one way to transform your ideas into a story, and that is find the reason for change. All stories revolve around change. Just watching someone go through their daily routine again and again and again would be boring. So what causes change in your story? Usually change comes from either the setting or the characters. If it's the setting, think plague, armies, floods. If it's the characters, try fights or lovers or chasing a dream. Once your catalyst is in place, consider what your characters really want, what they want badly enough to make stupid decisions or sacrifices for. Lastly, consider what's stopping them from getting what they want. In most cases, this is the antagonist, but it can also be part of the environment, a power structure, or a personal fear or failing. Once again, looking at Ghost, the impetus for change was the main character escaping from her home. The thing that she wants is to stop others from suffering at the hands of her father and his goddess, and the thing stopping her is said father and goddess. Next, play with those elements and start jotting down a rough idea of a plot. Don't worry about making it good yet, just make it exist. And don't feel the need to be linear. If you have a really clear idea of your climax, start there and work your way backwards. If you're like me, your outline might end up looking a little short at first. If that happens, look at your side characters and think about how you can entangle them further in the story. whether that's by involving them more in the main plot, giving them their own subplots, or making their relationships with the main character more complicated. This can start to get messy and overwhelming, but you'll get the bulk of the work done here. I think this is the point where a lot of writers call it a day and start working on their novel, but there are a few more steps that I like to take to make sure that I've taken out as many plot holes as I can, and I've embroiled my characters as much as possible. Almost all stories involve multiple characters or different events happening simultaneously. In every book I write, I find it really helpful to create a grid timeline. The rows are the different either dates, or you could say a day before, a day after, however you want to measure time. And the columns are different characters or events that progress throughout the story. I figure out what's happening at any given point and what each character is doing at that time, even if they're not on screen for that scene. Even if they're just living their lives, great, but write that, now you know what they're up to. This is such a critical part of my process, especially for books like Ghost of Middermere that play with time as part of the storytelling medium. It can help you catch times when your characters are idle for too long or where things are moving way faster than makes any sense. It helps me spot places where my characters can cross paths more often, further getting caught in each other's stories. It also helps me flesh out what's happening in the world to make it feel more real. Once I have my timeline, I like to look at each day or scene and look at each person, what they're doing, and decide whose point of view is going to be most interesting to write from. If you're writing from a single point of view for your entire book, then you can look at what the other characters are doing to get a feel for what your character might be aware of or what might create some dramatic irony. All of these things can really enhance your scenes. The last step in my personal outlining process is to write the story out scene by scene. I try to include who's involved with the scene, where they are, when it is, and what each character wants within the scene. When I say I write the scene, I mean a very rough version of the scene, almost written like a stream of consciousness piece. I don't go into every detail or description, but I hit all the high notes. I also try to get an idea of what people are saying if there's a dialogue. This can help a lot as opposed to situations where you've just said, they make a dramatic remark, especially if that remark spurs on drama that you're going to build from. You want to know what it is up front. These outlines tend to be about 1/5 of the length of my final work, but they take out so much of the guesswork and stop me from running into extra plot holes. They help me get through writer's block, and generally are just absolute lifesavers when it comes to finishing the book. If you'd like to pause the video, here's an example scene from Ghost's outline. With your outline in front of you, go through and mark which scenes are dialogue or exposition or slow scenes, and which scenes are action or conflict or fast scenes. Try to ensure your book has a nice balance of both, with more slow scenes towards the beginning and more fast scenes towards the end. You don't want too many slow scenes or too many fast scenes in a row because it can really mess up pacing. More slow scenes are okay near the beginning, but you want some action to keep the reader interested. And then as you reach towards your exciting climax, more and more scenes will get faster and faster, and that's a totally normal progression. Please note that your outline is not written in stone. No matter how hard you outline, a plot hole will slip through, or a scene may end up feeling strange or stilted. This is totally fine. Adjust as you go. Just be sure that if you've made substantial changes, to look at your outline holistically and make sure that there's no butterfly effect or it doesn't create continuity errors. If it does, just keep making changes, but the outline lets you do it in a easier place than trying to make changes to your entire novel. So that's how I build my outlines. Hopefully you find this video helpful. Please do like and subscribe, and next week we'll be looking at how to write your rough draft. Thanks so much, and happy writing.